So guys, Bob Arum takes a dig at Eddie Hearn. And he says that you don't know bleep about the US market. You don't know bleep about the US, you know nothing about this market here. Listen, you know what? Bob Arum, right? Bob Arum is somebody very intelligent, and he knows the market. I think he looks at Eddie Hearn and looks at this young brash kid coming from UK, and he thinks he's going to take over and things like that. And Bob Arum's like, I've been doing this for a very long time. And I think Eddie Hearn's a very confident guy. He's very confident, and he feels that, he has an ambition where he wants to take over the market, and he believes he has an ambition that he can do it. He's realized that it's not as easy in the American market, because he was saying in a couple of interviews that the problem is with America is like, I could do an event in London and I could do an event in Manchester, but both set of fans want exactly the same thing. However, here in the US, in LA, the fans' requirement is something else. In New York, the fans want something else. In Kansas, the fans want something else. So every city's different, and you've got to understand their cultures. You've got to understand what they want, what your consumers want, basically. And that's what Eddie Hearn says, and that's important for any business, let alone boxing. For any business to know what their consumers want, to keep improving with and keep updating. That's why they spend a lot of money on research and development, because they want to keep improving their products and services. So Eddie Hearn's probably got to understand the US market a lot better, and that's only going to happen with time. So I think a lot of people are giving Eddie Hearn a lot of flack, but he's right. He needs time. He's only been in the US for 6 months. He's not going to be able to crack it after 6 months. Now, he said after a year, 2 years, he made some comments, I'm going to take over. Really, they were just... Eddie Hearn's like that. He comes out with some brash comments, but I don't think he meant that. He knows how hard it was going to be. And actually, I think he's gone into the market, and now he realizes how hard it actually is. It's even harder than what he probably thought it was. And Bob Arum just took a dig at him, saying that you don't know nothing about the US market. But one thing I do agree with Eddie Hearn is that don't overlook Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is very ambitious, and he's very hardworking, and he's shown that in the UK. Right? Don't discount him or don't overlook him, because he is capable of becoming a massive player in the US market as well. He's a big player, because like I said, his confidence, his persona, the way he deals with people, he doesn't really hold grudges. He's willing to work with everybody to make the big fights, and that's a sign of a great promoter. And Bob Arum has that a little bit about him as well, because Eddie Hearn was mentioning that I could slate Bob Arum. He goes, the thing about Bob Arum is Bob Arum will still call me later that night and say, let's forget about that, let's make the fight. And that's a sign of a great promoter. Now, I feel that Eddie Hearn's relationship with Bob Arum is fairly good. I think, yeah, they take sly digs at each other. Eddie Hearn had a few things to say about Bob Arum. But I think Eddie Hearn respects Bob Arum a lot. He respects him too much to have a go at him. And what I mean by that is, he looks at Bob Arum and he thinks this guy's a legend. This guy promoted the Thriller in Manila. He looks at him like, I'm nowhere near his level in terms of what this man's achieved in the sport. So it's like you're giving somebody so much respect. He even said at one point that it's an honor for me to be promoting a show with him. And I can understand that, because Eddie Hearn probably looked up to Bob Arum as a promoter. He probably looked at him and said, one day, hopefully I could be like him, or I could have the name that he's got in the sport. Because Bob Arum's a legend from a promotional point of view. Look, he's promoted everybody. Some of the best American fighters ever. Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao. He's promoted them all. He's promoted some of the best fighters in history. He's, like I said, he's promoted them all. So you've got to give this guy a lot of credit, Bob Arum. He knows his stuff. And I think Bob Arum just slamming Eddie, and he's like just probably telling him, listen, kid, stay in your lane. You're a good promoter from where you're from, but this is the big boy league now. But I think Eddie Hearn, like I said, is not somebody that you want to overlook, because he is very determined, he's very ambitious, and he will look to become #1 in US as well. That's just the way he is. That's the competitive nature that I've seen throughout the years. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.